I did it on my business page. So if you have access to your Facebook and you go to Focus and Fabulous Events, I'm going to do a watch party for mine.
Yes, we're live.
Yay!
So I want to go to yours, right?
Yeah, the Focus and Fabulous. And then I'm going to share, I guess share it. And it asked me, do I want to do a watch party? Well, I guess I need to refresh my screen.
It's on a delay.
Okay, yeah. You know, we've been having issues with internet this week. With the storms, it's been going in and out.
Yeah, it's on a delay because I just see me moving from side to side.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay, but I need to look up at this one because this is the one I'm talking to.
Well, I guess I need to refresh my screen.
It's on a delay.
I hear you on. You know, we've been having. And then once I have it, I'm gonna turn my volume off on that. Okay. I'm gonna go in here and watch my watch party. Okay. I still don't see Katrina. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for doing this for me and coming on here because I miss you. One. I saw a lot of you at TDX, and it's like it seems like as soon as we got home, bam, life changed forever. But not forever, but hopefully forever, because when we come out of this, I'm going to be so much better than going into it. But I didn't get bio from you. So I want to make sure that everybody goes around and just announce who you are, talk about how we met, and just where you are, you know, how long you've been in business, you know, everything that you want to talk about. So the way I see you is the way I'm going to call you. I see Lisa first.
I'm up. Well, hey, my name is Lisa Oler. I am currently with LA Photo Party. I was one of the OG photo booth female owners back in the day. I started Smile Lounge Photo Booth back in 2009. And at the time, there were really only maybe that I know of about a dozen or so of us in the industry. And so it's really nice to see a lot of those women that I was friends with when we started out are still in business. Sharon, I met you through PDX, I believe, and then Photo Booth Network, and then PBPI.
Yes.
And we've just been around the world together, girl.
Yes. When I first decided to do a photo booth, your business popped up, and I was like, and I used to tell people all this, I was like, I'm going to be the East Coast Lisa. I'm going to be the East Coast Lisa.
Oh, I love you.
Yes. You were one of the first photo booth businesses I saw when I was even just researching that I wanted to do photo booth. Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I think that you've done such an amazing job with your business, and it almost feels like I've been able to like watch you grow and thrive, and it's been really fun. So thank you for inviting me to be a part of this today.
Okay, Wanda.
Hello. I bring you greetings from Hampton, Virginia, by way of Orlando, Florida today. I am the owner of Cute Clicks, and it is the ultimate photo booth experience of Hampton Roads. I've been in business about 7 years. I did it part-time for a while, for 3 years, but the last 4 years I've been able to do it full-time, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm freezing in here. I'm sorry, y'all. They're supposed to be coming to fix this air condition.
Yeah.
Ron, you're muted.
No, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
So forget everything I said. Katrina, you're next.
Can you guys hear me? All right, come outside. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Hello, Lisa, Caroline, Anna, Wanda. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I am from here in Michigan. and photo booth. I guess we are photo booth, yeah. And I've been on a couple of these panels with Sharon, and I'm just happy to be here. I've been in the business about 5 or 6 years too. So, yeah.
All right, Caroline.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. I am actually right outside of San Francisco, California right now. I have been a photographer actually since, maybe 2005. And then we started adding a photo booth to our business and unofficially right around 2011, and then officially making it a separate business in 2013. So we've been running that separate business. And then over the last few months, we started a group just to help educate and get information out to other photo booth owners and other photo booth businesses to kind of help elevate the industry together. So.
Oh, I'm going to remember this unmute and mute thing. Okay. Yes, thank you so much. I know I asked you very last minute. We met at PBX,
Yes.
Strong Woman, and I talked to Julia. I was like, I want to do a panel with women photo booth owners. Who? And she was like, Caroline, call her. So thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Anna.
Hi, everyone. My name's Anna. I have a company called Dance Enhance. This is our 20th year in business, so I actually was doing entertainment and different types of entertainment for quite a while before I started photo booths. I actually entered the photo booth market pretty early in 2008. So I beat Lisa by a couple months probably.
Okay.
I got it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't really 2008.
Yes, it's been a long time. So I've
yes.
the photo booth industry.
Yeah, we connect through Photo Booth Network, PBX, and PBPI. So we have, all of us have a number of years together. I have so many stories and experiences with each of you. And because of you, we grow. Because of you, I grow. So I think that us getting together here, talking about, the craziness of what's been going on in the last 4 months is going to be really good. Like we're sharing. I'm sharing on my Facebook. I'm sharing on my business page. I'm trying to share in Strong Woman, but I don't know. But I did put a post, so hopefully women will check in. I can see comments, so hopefully they'll leave us some comments and some questions that they may have. But a lot of times people see it on the second half and they still leave comments. So I'll try to answer them as well. If you guys see them on your watch party, you can answer them as well. But just want to make it as relaxed as possible. I know I threw out some topics that might be good to talk about right now since we are going through what we're going through. But the one that got the most votes, can you guess?
Pivot.
Being a woman in the photo booth industry. Everybody wants to talk about it.
What was it, Sharon?
Being a woman in the photo booth industry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because it's different. Like I remember it's spinning.
Look at all these faces. I wonder why.
I know. When I first went to my first PBX, it was the first one, and I was like, "Where are the women?" It was all these men, and I was like, "Where are we?" I went because of a woman photo booth owner. Laura was in New York. I was in New York when I first started. And she was like, "Hey, did you hear about this event in Las Vegas? We should go. We should be roommates. If anything else, we're gonna have a great weekend." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I couldn't have done anything better for my business. At that time, I was kind of part-time-ish, doing it when I could, not doing it purposefully. If somebody said, "Hey, you have a photo booth, can you do my party?" I was like, "Yeah." But after that, 360, and it just took off from there. And I met a lot of you there, so it was wonderful. So that's how it's been for me. I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about being a woman in the photo booth industry. Who wants to start?
Gonna take myself off mute. I don't want to pull a Sharon. So like we were talking about earlier, Anna and I started way back in the day when there really weren't, first of all, there weren't a lot of
photo booth owners as an industry back in the day, but as for women-owned companies, it was even just such a smaller percentage. I don't know what the percentage is now in the marketplace. I certainly think that we've seen an explosive growth with women owners in the industry, and I think that this type of business really lends well to our particular skill set as women. You know, we're multitaskers by nature. For those of us that have kids and we're running business and we've got households to take care of, you know, I think a lot of that combines well for running a business when you're wearing, you know, multiple hats. For me, it was really important to get involved early on in the industry and start networking. And a lot of the people that I met very early on in my career in the business, we're all still very good friends now. And they really, really helped my business when I was still an owner to really grow and learn. And it was really important for me at that point to identify as a female-owned company or a women-owned business. So it's just really been nice to see kind of the market flip as we see a lot more of us coming in as women business owners.
I agree, because I when I was picking my logo and my colors, I wanted it to look like it was a woman-owned business, and I just thought that was very important to me. One of the things that you know, Laura and I talk about is how when we work together, we're so detail oriented, and when we work with the men business owners, it may not be the same. I had an event I did with a male photo booth owner, and the client specifically wanted silver sequins at her wedding. And he showed up with gold, and he was like, "What? Well, who cares? It's sequins." And I was like, "No, you have to have silver." And he had to drive, and this is in New York. He was in Long Island. He had to drive to Queens to get the silver sequins and bring it back, because I was going to strangle him if he did not do what the client wanted. And they just kind of, sometimes they care. And that's been some of the experiences I've had with some of the guys, that as women, we're really more attentive to our clients and to the design and what the picture looks like. And just the men, sometimes they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you said at the first photo booth expo in Vegas, I was there, I believe it was the very first one. But when I came there, I didn't know any women photo booth owners. And I was very surprised when I got there. I was so excited, like, oh, it's more of me somewhere here. Because here in Michigan, you know, it was all men. I didn't even know that there was any. And then, of course, it became really saturated, you know, in the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, I had the same experience not seeing any women photo booth owners.
Exactly.
I think from my perspective, because I also run this with my partner, Josh. And so, you know, if we talk to any other photo booth owners, immediately they think that he's the main person and I'm just like the latchkey, like the trophy, whatever on the side. And I always tell them, like, no, I do all the programming. I was a website designer. I was a programmer, you know, so like, don't mansplain anything to me, because I know what's going on. And even like, while we're all photo booth owners, within a subset in the industry, people who really know what is technically going on, there's an even smaller group of women, you know, and we're strong. We know, like you said, we know how to juggle everything. So don't discount our technical abilities.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I've also had a lot of support from the men photo booth owners. Billy Batson, he's one of my really good friends. He's the one who took me to Atlantic City to the DJ Expo, and that's where I met Limelight and got my first photo booth. So
I love Billy so much.
DJ Expo. What's in Atlantic? I don't think I've even been to Atlantic City before that, and I was just like so grateful. He's another person that I'll call on if I'm at an event or before an event and I'm running into technical difficulties. But there's been some really supportive men in this business too. So, yep.
Yes, Billy's a good guy. He helped me out with a huge project that I had in New York.
Yes.
Shortly after I had gotten started, and he's great. There are wonderful men in this industry.
Yes.
There are some
amazing
too, but yeah, There are some really good guys. Katrina, where are you out of? I didn't catch your
I'm in Michigan.
Michigan. Okay.
Yep.
Anna, how's it like being a woman in the photo booth industry?
Well, it just kind of like all of your experiences. There's moments. I mean, I love being a woman, of course, but uh, sometimes I live in the South and I'm in Arkansas, so it's a little bit more backwards here in that anytime I go, even though I've been in business for 20 years, 98% if there's a guy there, he could be the guy carrying something in. He must be the owner. And it's old. I can't hear you.
We have some comments. There's Aldo.
Yeah. He said it's all about the details.
And all about the details. All about the
details. My work husband. He's my brother from another mother. He's one of the first photo booth owners that I really connected with. We met we used to stalk each other at bridal shows. Because he had a really unique looking photo booth, and back in the day when I started Smile Lounge, I had that round, curvy booth that nobody else had at the time, and so he and I became BFFs, and like to this day, he's still one of my best friends.
I met Aldo at PBPI. I knew who he was, but I never had interaction. And he was sitting behind me at the LA Photo Party workshop. And he was just talking and talking. I was like, you know your stuff. I was like, I should be sitting next to you. You know everything. And that's how we connected. But yeah. Hey, Aldo. Wanda, your turn. Hold on. I got you. Go ahead.
Thank you, because I'm at a deficit being on this phone. Well, my experiences with the photo booth, I basically just had to start from scratch. It was I used to be a teacher, and I was a class sponsor, so I used to hire photo booth companies for our events. But none of them were in my area. I had to go like 45 minutes to 30 minutes away. I live on the peninsula in Tidewater, where Hampton, Newport News is on one side of a bridge. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake is on another side of the bridge. So they had photo booth companies over there, and they were all, they weren't, any of them weren't owned by women. They were maybe couples, but none of them per se women owners, until I started the one in Hampton. So being a woman in the business has been very interesting, because we are multitask people. I am very detail oriented. I love the details and things and making things foo pretty. That's one of the things that I definitely enjoy in the customization.
Foo pretty. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I always tell the guys at work: make it pretty. Make it pretty.
And by Wanda making it pretty, I think that's how we met. You did this tier of pictures, and I think I commented on Photo Booth Network about it. But we met on Photo Booth Network. But she did this tier of pictures. I thought it was cute. And then I love your setup when you are doing your wedding shows. Wanda goes all out. Talk about attention to detail. I'm a man compared to Wanda when it comes to detail. She will look at any little thing and it's like, no, that's not right. It needs to be here. It needs to be here. So attention to detail queen, Wanda got the crown.
I agree.
I try.
You gotta try. So the second question was the pivot. So how have we pivoted? I think if they have a list of words that are popular in 2020, it's going to be pivot. How have we pivoted our photo booth business during COVID-19? So everybody mute unless you're talking, because I don't know. It feels like wind, but it doesn't sound like wind, so I don't know what that is. Let's start with Let's start with you, Wanda.
Yeah. Basically for me, I do a lot of, because I was a former teacher, school events, proms, graduations, weddings, a lot of social events. So the night before everything stopped, I had gotten one ring dance in. So they were the only school in our city to be able to have their ring dance. So, and I normally do multiple proms and stuff. So it was like a preaching halt. It was like all events were canceled for like months and months. And you sit here and you're like, you get cancellation behind cancellation behind cancellation behind cancellation behind cancellation. And then because we're in Virginia with a governor who's an MD, he came out of the gate and was like, we're going to be on a stay-at-home order until June 10th. So from the very beginning, he told us June 10th was the day. So we had weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks where other people gradually were like, we're going to close May 1st. We're going to close, they kept looking at it in stages. Our stay at home from the very beginning was June 10th. So, of course, everything was canceled. So one day was just looking and saw the virtual photo booth, and I started doing virtual photo booths with with one of the companies, and it just was good because it got me back into designing. It made me relevant again. I had fresh content to continue to post. I was back dealing with customers, being able to be creative. So the pivot for me was the virtual photo booth. It actually like brought me back in, and but I am not doing regular events as of yet. Everything that I'm doing is virtual right now. And like I said, I was fortunate to have some great sponsors that sponsored several of the graduation. I had one sponsor, he did all 4 schools in my city. So it was great. So I've done tons, not tons, like tons, but I've done quite a few virtual photo booths. So
You've done
that was my
tons. Every time I turn around, Juana's doing a virtual. I gotta get on it. I'm missing out. Lisa, your turn.
So we have working with LA Photo Party. We are a kind of a 3-pronged company. We have products division where we actually build photo booths. We have the Infinite and the Venture. We have the software division where we have PBU, which is for DSLR photo booths, as well as webcam booths. And then we have Photo Party Upload, which is our sharing platform. And we do Mosaic. I mean, there's Muse Mosaic. There's a couple other services that we offer. But the big pivot for us as a company, we're based out of California. Our two hubs are California and New York. Both of those markets went to like zero overnight. And so we lost, all of our event revenue, which was at least 50% of our business. So the big pivot for us has been flipping to a focus on back to our software. We developed a virtual booth software, and so we've been offering that to not only our event clients, but also our photo booth owners. So I don't know if some of you, I know that Anna has used our software, but we do have a lot of members that have switched to, like you have, wanted doing the virtual services. And, sadly, we're, considered a medium-sized business based on the number of employees that we have. And so we've had to obviously shift focus or shift some of the resources from our event staff into software. But the nice thing is we've been able to hire basically 2.5 new software developers. So we're kind of pivoting more towards a bigger focus on software. And then I'm on the event side of the business. So my focus is on now pitching these virtual services to my event clients. It's been really interesting. There's a lot of interest in the virtual because everybody's trying to find a way to connect. Like you, Wanda, we did a lot with the schools for virtual graduations and cap and gown photos through the virtual services. But I just feel so bad for these students and these brides that are missing out on, some of the biggest days of their lives. So I'm really glad that our industry is able to step up and offer those services.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other day, one of my friends from high school, her daughter had her graduation, and they had they closed the street in front of their school. They had a big stage set up outside. Everyone had masks. I think they did custom masks because each of the graduates had the same mask on. The parents would pull up, let them out the car. They would announce them, go on stage, take pictures, come down, and that was it. And I'm like, it's different, but they will never ever forget this. I mean, no one had a graduation like them. And so I'd have to kind of look at the positive for them. And like you, Lisa, I'm so happy that software companies like yours and some of the other ones came up with something, because I was dead in the water. I lost some of my biggest clients. I was supposed to be traveling this year. Like, I had a national account and I was going everywhere. I'm like, oh, like today I was supposed to be in DC for 3 days. Then I was going to be in Orlando next week. Like, it was so many things, and I totally lost everything. It was like Wanda said, those calls started coming. I didn't know what I was going to do. But luckily, most of them I have a lot of repeat customers. And what they do it every single year. And it's like, Sharon, just put it to next year. We'll see you here. And that's all they did. And so I was grateful for that people weren't coming after me like that, because it started to really hurt. I never had anybody cancel on me, and we couldn't help it. We just couldn't help it. So my pivot has also become virtual. Like I said, as soon as it happened, I had to deal with the negative stuff of what's happening. And then I started to feel a little bit better because, okay, now what? Now what do we do? And so I reached out to my software people, like, what's up? And like all of us, we were online on pins and needles waiting. Is it out? What can we do? And so I've kind of found my sweet spot with my small business owners, my luxury event planners that were like, this is my full time too. So we're pivoting together, and they took me with them. And what I've also been able to do is network with a lot more people that didn't have time for me before. They were already busy. They were already doing things. And I'm kind of pulling up the slack on people that decided not to pivot. So I'm getting calls now for live events that the photo booth owner is just not ready. And I get it. I'm not really ready either, but I'm going to go forward, sanitize and try to follow all the safety rules as possible and be very stern about it. But some people weren't ready. So I pivoted for virtual events. And now I'm starting to see the light this much. And there's some live events coming back. And so I'm thinking my social, my repeat clients that have decided to either do a virtual event or, do something different. And so that's where I'm at right now with everything. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed for all of us.
Yeah.
Katrina, you go ahead.
So I guess when I think of pivoting, I jumped into the virtual thing, but I wasn't really, I think it hit us so fast that my mind wasn't there ready to do that type of event. Cause I'm like, oh, what's going on? I think my biggest issue was I purchased a 360, and I just knew that was going to be something that would take me to the next level. And when it all came down to a crash, and then the virtual thing, I just wasn't, with it. So, I did some virtual, but I was like, so, I took that time to really, dive into learning the 360 and the software and things, a lot of housekeeping, getting things stored. I redid my garage, I did a lot of cleaning of backdrops, and, I just took that time to really get things that wasn't organized together. And again, at first it hit me hard. I had clients that wanted their money back. So that was like one of my biggest, but as time went on, they understood what the economy was doing, what was happening with their event space and all that. So now I'm more, I let the deposit stay on, for a year, and, they're happy with that. So like Sharon said, that little light is starting to, shine a little bit brighter now. Sharon, she about to.
I'm gonna leave it on. Only thing going on in my house is my ceiling fan because I like it. It feels good. Yeah, we're coming out, and hopefully, like Katrina said, this. I don't know about you, but it changed me. It changed my outlook. It changed how I want to do business. It gave me opportunity to work on things that I normally don't have time to do. So I think, like I said, we're going to come out better and stronger. And just to note, Dave is going in. He had a whole bunch of posts.
Yes,
He just to PBS, so we're about to get all of our nice comments, right?
Hi,
Yeah.
Dave.
What
Hi,
I
Dave.
need to say. Why wasn't I invited?
We have
Next
Kiana
time.
saying hello. Kiana.
And then we have, oh, he said he's sharing. Yep, Kiana. There we go. Oh, yes, she follows me on Instagram. She is so sweet. Does anyone know her personally?
I do not.
I don't know the name of her business, but we follow each other on Instagram, and she is super, super sweet. And she's in Hawaii. Now, where in Hawaii? I've never been, but somewhere in Hawaii. Caroline, how are you pivoted?
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of funny because my whole family's in Asia. I actually don't have any family in America. I migrated here for college. So I was following the virus early on, and I saw this thing kind of take on China. So before PBX, we knew what was going to happen. And our first event was before PBX, and that was like a 5-day conference, a huge conference in San Francisco. So we knew it was going to trickle down. Coming back home from PBX, we emailed all our clients to kind of like be on the ball and get it rolling. Tell them that what their options are, what our policies are, and what we have been doing. And then since then, we have been doing a lot of virtual booths as well. We did quite a bit of drive-through booths for graduations because they were having drive-through graduations here, and that was completely safe and within all the rules. So we did a bunch of that. We have implemented all touchless start systems on all our booths with a QR code. So we've been doing a lot of that as well. And nonstop marketing, even if it was like guerrilla marketing, we were nonstop. I feel like we've been working harder during this time than ever before. We were sending newsletters out to a lot of our coordinators, a lot of our venues. So we actually started taking bookings for 2021 because people had to adjust their wedding dates, and we're telling them like, hey, truth be told, weekends are running out, just like in general in 2021. So we were kind of, being proactive, being on the ball really helped us out a lot. And also the plus side is that since I'm still photographing, I was able to do some of that since it opened up a little bit more. But being in California, as Lisa knows, we're one of the most conservative states and one of the most restricted. So we still don't have official events other than ceremonies just yet. So we also kind of put the focus as a company to help other photo booth companies, just like you're talking about, just to kind of like support the morale and just get everybody going again.
Definitely. And I wanted to ask you, wait, am I on mute? Okay, I'm good.
No.
I wanted to ask you with the rebooking. So in my mind, when I started to get the calls that, hey, you know what, we're just going to push it to next year, just keep what you got, because I do a 50% retainer. And so some of my bigger accounts, I'm like, please don't ask for anybody. So, but we were doing the photo booth New York conference last week, and someone said they were talking about charging a rebook fee. Did any of you guys do that? And I was just grateful they didn't want anything back, and they were willing to stay with me as a customer and do an event next year. So I was just grateful for that. So I left it alone. We went over the policy that they have so much time to use the credit, but for the most part, I had no issues, and I didn't want to come after them and ask for any more money. So what were some of you guys' interactions with that as far as like rebooking?
I think that really heavily depends on your contract and what you have stated in your contract in the first place. It also kind of depends on your state policies, whether you use the term refund or retainer and what your state law is surrounding that. One big success that we've had with our clients, and anybody feel free to copy this, was that we said, instead of a refund, what we would love to do is donate the money towards a nonprofit of your choice or some of our angel nonprofits so that they can have it, because nonprofits are hurting right now. They can't have their fundraising events.
Right.
They can have it straight donation, or it can be applied to a photo booth for their future fundraising event. And so I think almost all, and we didn't have a lot of cancellations at all, we're very fortunate, but only one said no to that. So.
That's really good. I didn't think about that because a lot of my events are fundraisers for nonprofits and things like that. And that's really good. And I think at this time, people are kind of feeling the spirit and they want to help as any way they can. And if they can do it that way, that's a really good idea. As far as the photography, I know locally a lot of our photographers got really creative because they wanted to stay, doing what they were doing, but in a safe way. What's some of the creative things that you did with photography during this time?
So even though I wasn't able to photograph in the studio during shelter in place, and I think we just ended shelter in place. Oh my gosh, Lisa, what has it been, like 2 weeks ago?
Wow.
Yeah, now we're back on.
Yeah, now we're like, considering back on. But I never actually stopped booking sessions. We just told people, like, as soon as our calendar opens up, you can book a session. We have a discounted fee right now for a session fee. It doesn't include any products or anything like that. But it was honestly gangbusters. Like, people, I think after the initial shock, and I do boudoir photography, so I focus on women. So after the initial shock, after that panic, women were like, okay, but I kind of want to feel pretty again. I want to get dressed up again. I want to get my nails done again. So as soon as you guys can, I want to be, and I want to feel like a woman again, So we were able to still keep, like I said, like we never stop marketing. And I think that's the number one mistake we can do as companies of any kind right now, is to just kind of roll over and play dead and wait for it to all pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've really focused hard on marketing, but I started doing things that brought me business that never did before. So I started really working on content and doing YouTube videos. And like, people are finding me on YouTube. Oh, you found me on YouTube? No. You saw a video I did this year? Yeah. So I'm getting calls from that. So people are like looking in different places. So I'm kind of having fun, but I need to make it a routine. I need to be consistent with everything that I'm doing that's working so that I can see real results. But yeah, definitely.
And some of the results, Sharon, might not happen right now. The way these algorithms work for your postings, you might see some results from this, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line. But you're putting in the work now, which is great, because by the time we're all able to go out and party again, you're going to be coming top of mind for a lot of people who are searching. So I applaud you for putting this together, because you're really doing some great work with your backlinking, and it's really going to help your SEO, and make sure you're using all your YouTube links and hashtagging it and referencing back to your site.
Look, I was learning some things at those conferences. That was a commitment to sit in that chair for 3 days, but it was so worth it to learn all that stuff. It was great. And I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been watching a lot of you and Six Figure Photo Booth. I mean, it's been amazing. Anna.
Hi. Are we still talking about what we did?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Look, I had the comments going. Let me go back to my banner. Got it.
As far as initially when COVID first hit, I do events all over the country too, but I lost my first events starting back in February, sadly. So mine was fairly early on, and because we have a lot of international people that we work with too, so we got a lot of that feedback. And initially it was kind of fun because I had this time to reprogram all my software and do all these neat things and test all these ideas. And then it kind of stretched out longer.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need money. And so initially what I did was I did a lot of the graduation type photos, in the sense of not so much a photo booth, but just reminding people that we also deal in event photography, whether it be green screen, different things like that. So a lot of mine were, if you submit these photos to us, we'll come back with a graduation gift. So we did a lot of graduation gifts for graduating seniors. So we got a lot of momentum as far as free advertising through that campaign. After we wrapped up with that, then we started doing and pushing more of the virtual photo booths, which pretty much I think everyone has been doing now.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the main 2 points. And then I've got some outside of the photo booth stuff that I've kind of started up in the meantime too, kind of just in case.
Well, I will say, who's been contacting me this week as universities, because most of the universities are making the decision that they're not going to have homecoming this year. And so I've been getting calls about, well, we got to do something. We still have to get together. We're going to have a virtual this and a virtual that. So I've been getting a lot of calls from universities this week. So that's another thing that happened. I wanted to say before I forget it. That's amazing. So Anna, outside of doing the photo booth, you have a big lot of experience in events, period. So what are some of the things that you've seen that you either wanted to try or, that you were involved in and, you like and you might continue after, we start having, our regular life again?
For a lot of people, right now, obviously, since people can't meet, one of my biggest calls has been, hey, do you have a way for us to transmit to a lot of people? So by that, I mean kind of like the drive-in movie theater concept.
Yeah.
Where, whether, especially for churches started calling a lot, like trying to figure out how to give sermons to their congregation in parking lots, not necessarily through the internet, although the internet option has also had a lot of calls for people who wanted to figure out how to live send their wedding ceremonies and things where the attendance was going to be really limited. My state was a little bit different than most of everyone else's because unfortunately my city ranked #1 in COVID cases recently in the whole entire US. So we didn't ever shut down officially, but venues kind of did to a certain degree. So it was a little bit different because of that. So there's been a lot of people doing live feeds, not through Facebook and not through some of the traditional channels that people have been used to. So there's definitely a market for people who are interested in kind of stepping up the game for audio transmission and saving those videos.
Yeah.
As well as like just being able to transmit that through the drive-through concept. And so that's always going to be a new thing that people are going to be interested in for any time that we're still separated from being able to be face to face.
And this is for everybody. As the businesses are reopening, are they asking you to be part of their reopening?
Right now, I don't know if other states are doing it, but in my state, they had a campaign for PPE. So they actually had grants and other things so that if you were getting back to work, then you could try to get the grants in order to have that PPE. So I know in my case, a lot of our clients are asking, so when we come back, what ways are you going to have to protect your customers? So like they're like, oh, you're going to have your own sanitation stations and you're going to have like all this stuff to give us for free. And so that's been kind of a big pivoting concept. Like, are we going to be selling these items to our customers in the future? Or are we going to have to eat the cost of these items? And it's a little confusing right now as to what's the right answer. I mean, I have people, we do casino parties, and I have people asking me, am I going to bring plastic cages for these casino parties? I'm like, no.
Right. So that leads us right into our next question, which was how are we responding to COVID? Because I mean, I'm kind of following the lead of some of you guys. I'm listening to what you're saying you're going to be doing when you do go back and you do events. Bill did a great piece on training for us in the conference where he actually showed us an event and how it worked. And so I'm trying to take pointers from people that are already out there doing, and then I'm also saying no to some of the things people are out there doing. I watched one and the people were right up in each other's face and nobody had on a mask, and I was freaking out watching it. So I think I'm going overboard. One of my friends, he was like, I think you're doing too much, but I care not, because I would be so heartbroken if one of my attendants got sick. I just don't want anybody to get sick. So that's my whole thing about, how my response is. And I also learned in the conference that we need to make sure that our audience knows how we're going to respond. That also lets them know that we're ready and we're ready to come out and do events, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. They kind of don't want to ask. I had a friend, I just kind of opened up and told him what I was going through, and he was like, I had no idea. I really didn't want to ask, and I assumed other things. I didn't assume that that's what you were going through. So I think by us, all of you have said, staying on our social media, letting people know we're okay, and hey, we're getting ready to do some events, and they can start pushing your business, because I do find that too is that some of my friends feel really sorry, and normally they don't advertise my business, but they have nothing else to do, so they're like telling people about me, and so it's been really good. All right, Wanda got on the computer, so it's moved everybody. So I'm going to start with Katrina, who's beneath me. Well,
Okay. Underneath me.
Yeah, I can't see you though.
I know. I'm trying to. I have no out here. What was the question?
How is your company respond? What is your response to COVID? So when we go back out, what have you changed? How are you going to stay safe? What are some new things that you will do differently in your events?
So I had my first live event. What's today? On Tuesday, and I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. Oh my goodness. I had a sanitary station. I used dark room booth QR code for the booth, and I had Halo on a stand. I call it Halo, but what is it? The mobile unit. Yeah. So yeah, the roamer. So I was terrified. I mean, I had on my mask, and I tried to stay away from people. I had my own little tent. I would go to my car. I was terrified. People didn't have on their masks. Some people did have on their masks. It was just like, oh my God, is this our reality? So, even though I had the QR code and I had to sanitate, I had a mask. I didn't take any attendance with me. I just wanted to get out there and see what the atmosphere was like. Yeah. And, that was it. I don't think I'm going to hold on off a little bit longer. I do have an event on July 25th that I dedicated myself to, but I'm just going to wait till this, see what's going on with this second wave and, see where we at, because it is scary. I didn't think I would be that terrified about it. But the atmosphere was just not, even we were outside as well, but it was just not what I expected. I went there just like, oh, I'll be fine. I got my mask and my sanitizer and all this kind of stuff, and people care about people and they'll have on their mask, but it wasn't mutual at all. So I was kind of, upset about that, but we have to do what we have to do. But I tried to be as safe as I could be.
I understand. I did my first, it wasn't a full live event. I did a drop off. And that person hired me after COVID. So I only offer a drop off. And so I got there early. So it was just me and the client. We're outside. We're in her backyard. She built a really great area for the photo booth. So I was like, okay, cool. It was shaded. I didn't feel any kind of way of putting it up and getting out of there. I had on my mask. I had on gloves. I put everything up. I showed her how to work it, and I was out of there. When I came back, it was the end of the party, but people were still there. No one had on a mask. We were outside, which is cool. And they were like, we want to take one more really big group picture. I was like, okay, I'll wait. They took a picture, and then I went in. I had my stuff, and I'm wiping down. They're like, masks. And they were like, we want to take one more really big group picture. But I'm with Katrina. I didn't know I would feel that. I still get emotional going to the store and seeing everybody with masks. I get emotional because that's not how we're supposed to live, So being there and me being the only one protected, I felt like, am I the only one that cares? So I have heard from other photo booth people that the venue staff is covered, with the vendors are covered, but the guests are not. And there's so many stories. I went to a birthday party. I went to a this. I went to a that. I'm not eating. I'm not drinking anything while I'm there. I'm doing my job and I'm getting out. That's all. So the one on the 11th that I have was already booked before COVID, and they didn't have to change their date, so they did it. But everybody after that, I'm only offering a drop off. So hopefully everything goes well with this one. Yep. And going in order, Wanda, pivot.
Yeah. Like I said, I've just been doing the virtual things. I don't have anything that's actually live, because going into my next busy season was going to be weddings and college homecomings, and that's being canceled. So I'm sure there's going to be a virtual pivot for that as well. I am looking at another virtual software so that I can offer, both options, the enhanced version. So just trying to broaden my virtual offerings for my clients, because I'm sure that they're going to think, I'm so glad to be on this computer. That phone was freaking me out.
I think Katrina feels the same way.
I was like, I can't do this phone anymore. Okay. So that's where I'm just gonna, be virtually. I'm thinking maybe around August, I'll be really ready to per se go out, because I too feel that people are not as serious as I am in reference to the mask wearing, as I mentioned to some of you all earlier, traveling today. In the airport, I was surprised that they did not, don't get me wrong, majority of the people had masks. But I expected them to be like, if you don't have a mask, you can't. You gotta have a mask to be in here.
Those signs are just signs sometimes, and people just do what they want to do. And I've been in, like, even with the whole 6 feet thing, like, people just disregard. And I get it, because we're habits. It's just habits. Yeah. We're so used to doing things one way, and I get it. But I definitely understand that. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I too, am I'm a big propster. I love props. So my whole not probably being able to offer props, I've tried to think of ways where, okay, if you have them on a table, have a basket for them to put them in, and then, get them standing, and I'm just like, what am I do? So just trying to resource and research and make, figure out what is going to be the right move. But
so I haven't been doing my job. Wanda, can you read Dave's question to us? Can you see it?
Someone asked about contracts too. Dave,
what has been the biggest selling point for moving forward? Is that the question you're talking about?
Yeah.
What has been the biggest selling point for moving forward? Ladies, I need your help.
I would say the virtuals. People are so amazed that I even have an option for them. They're calling like, so what can I do? But they totally don't get it. They're like, so in the Zoom call, we're only going to be on about 2 hours. So is that enough time? I'm like, yeah, it's enough time. Actually, you can have it all day if you like.
I do 12 hours, period. Yeah.
So just explaining the process. And for me, how I sell it, I can only sell it in a demo. If I try to explain over the phone, they're like, but once they see themselves and they take a picture and they having fun with it, then it's like, okay, then we have to have it. But I cannot, it might be me, I just cannot sell it like on the phone or in a message or anything like that. I can get them excited in the message, but as far as closing the deal, they have to see it. So that's been mine. Anybody else?
Yeah, that's how, I don't have the web-based one that I'm sure that most of you all use. I have the text-based version. And what I do is I set it up and let whoever purchase it, I give them some time to understand and play and send pictures. And, they get excited. And it's just all in how they promote it. I give them, customized cards with the instructions based on their event. I help them and I encourage them on how to promote it through their groups. And so I'm constantly like, okay, this is how we need to market this. This is how we need to get, the use out of it.
Yeah.
I said in the advertisement, we show the regular pictures and the frame photo, what they're going to actually be getting back. Because a lot of them don't really understand. And with mine being a text-based, it's different than, okay, you can see yourself in the frame before, so mine is a little bit different.
Okay. Yep. Exactly. Anybody else?
Like I said, I've not had anybody complain. They love it. I'm excited about offering the web-based one as the enhanced version. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Someone in the comments asked about, have we changed our contracts?
Okay, hold on. Okay, and I think we're answering this for him. So yes, this is from. Oops, sorry. Show.
Yes.
All right. have we changed our absolutely? Anna, you want to jump in, or Carolyn, you want to jump in?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the most important things that a lot of people forget. You know, it's not just about what we're doing in person at an event, it's what we are liable for in terms of our contract. So your contract, for example, should mention if you're going to take sanitation breaks, what does that look like? If the guests are the ones bringing props, who's responsible for sanitizing it? What happens when a guest touches your photo booth? What happens when, you're not responsible for social distancing, for enforcing members of the same household. And really, each county has its own health code and has its own rules, especially for us in California. What is happening in my county is completely different just 20 minutes away. So we really have to be really mindful of that. On top of that, because our business liability insurance will only insure us according to what is okay and what is deemed lawful in that county. So yes, absolutely update your contracts. Talk to your attorney.
So let me ask you, you brought up about social distancing and who's responsible for that. Who is responsible for that?
Completely depends on your county. In my county in Sacramento, basically we're not supposed to have any outdoor gatherings, especially if it's anybody outside of the members of your same household, right? So it really depends county per county. And let's just be real. We have to accept as photo booth vendors that if people are holding an event right now or they're attending an event, they just don't care. And there is no way we can make them care. So we just have to accept that. We have to act, to protect our business and also our attendees.
Absolutely.
Most people, we can't micromanage them. So how we protect ourselves is our contract.
Yeah.
You can also use stanchions to really create a barricade around your booth. I mean, we've done that before at like large festivals that we've had booths at, not because of contamination issues, but because we don't want, drunk, crazy people touching our booth anyway. But at least if you use those stanchions to create that barricade around your booth, you're already setting your staff up for a safer environment.
Exactly.
And like you were saying, we can't control what other people are doing. We can only control what we're bringing out. At LA Photo Party, it's always been like our staff safety comes first. We've actually we've cut ties with clients for issues where our staff has felt uncomfortable, and so I don't see us doing, having staff at events right away until we're confident that that this virus isn't going to be an issue for them. So. I think we're going to see a lot more of the drop-off style booth or a barricade around the booth. We have a smile trigger functionality in our software, so it's completely contactless. The guests step in front. As soon as the software recognizes that smile, then it starts to count down. Some others use like a gesture-based software. So there's a lot of ways that we can provide services that are contactless for our clients.
I agree.
There's one thing that we're offering for our clients is that while our attendants at the event, they are pretty much remote. So they're on the other side of the room, or they're not actually anywhere close to the photo booth, but they're able to monitor in case of any issues. So that's really easy to do.
Yeah. That's kind of what that's kind of like, I think when I first do one, that's what it's going to look like. That we set it up, we're there, we're monitoring, but everything is there for you, ready to go. Definitely. Oh, there you are. I was going to say, oh no, I love people. Okay, let's go to our question. I think they got all. Oh, wait, one more. Hold on, something came out. Oh no, we're good. That's Fred Powell. He just says hello. All right, our questions are here somewhere. Oh, what happened to my question?
Okay, prayers for John Place.
Yes. Okay, let me go back. That's.
And I think that was one of the things that I think when I went to, because I had saw his live, and I think that would freak me out on Tuesday when I went to my event. That's all I can think about was John. Of course, we have his family in our prayers, and we're hoping that he pulled through this 100%. And everything's okay. Yeah.
But that really brought it like front and center for those of us who are, at these events. We literally are putting ourselves
Yes.
to an environment where we could potentially be exposed to the virus, and
Mhm.
it's really scary. And
Yeah.
somebody asked, what are the predictions for the rest of the year?
Yes.
I don't know. I would have thought we'd be open by now. Literally,
You did.
I thought that the virus was gonna, see that decline, and we were gonna, be able to come out of this by summer. But
No.
I think we're back up spiking. I mean, I think
Yeah, I'm afraid that we're going to be like you guys, where we just went to phase 3, which I'm really afraid of. That they're gonna get really crazy this weekend. It's the holiday.
Yeah.
See them up there buying fireworks. It's like crazy town. And then we're gonna have to revert and go back.
That's my fear.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with us. I hope not, but I just think that that's what's going to happen. So maybe my fall people it's just not enough time to say yes. So I think that's why I'm losing a lot of fall. I hope we have a good holiday. I don't know. I think definitely people are going to be ready to party, but I don't know what the holidays are going to bring. As far as like my conferences and things like that, like I said, majority of postponed, or I even lost a contract. So most of them are like, we'll see you next year. So that business will come back then. But
I really think if you look at all the international models, all the different countries, whenever you see a country that opens up too soon, they fall back into closing back up again, and it's at least 3 months at a time. It's what it takes to flatten the curve. So that's been happening all over the world, right? Number 2, corporate events are going to have to take a pause, because there's no way a corporation is going to be responsible or take liability for live events. So they're going virtual. We're doing a lot of virtual corporate events. But if you tell people to not have social events anymore, that's going to be really hard. So people are going to have their own things in their own backyards, people getting their own events, and that's just going to be the way it is. But the way that a virus is, it's going to take time to mutate. Luckily, coronavirus is mutating faster than a normal virus, but it's going to take some time, and it's going to circle the globe because it already is.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on. Anna brought this to my attention because I was like, woo! Because at the end of the day, after February hit, March hit, and like some of you said about April, you're like, where's the money? We had to really figure out where is the money. So Anna brought this topic up, which is alternate funding options. So I know all of us have done something different. So let's talk about how are we doing financially? Were we able to get help? What kind of help? If there are people that still haven't seeked help, because people are calling me like, I need help. How did you get help? And they're asking me now for things I did back in March. So what are we doing here? Anna, go first.
Okay. Well, for as far as COVID goes, I was projecting that COVID, as far as my business is going to be affected, I'm going to hope next year comes back to something more of a normal. But I've kind of written off the rest of this year, unfortunately, just because of the type of clients I have.
Yeah.
It's going to be too much for me to be able to make back up the money that I've lost, to be honest. And unfortunately, with the changes that some of my repeat clients have done, I don't know if in the future they'll choose to not be virtual. That might be a massive savings for them, and that might be a massive change for an industry in certain sectors. It might not affect everyone in the photo booth world, but it's definitely something I'm very concerned about and paying a lot of attention to. And I'm hoping that they value the in-face connections that they've had in the past.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not really certain what the future holds, and I'm kind of still holding out on that. Aside from a lot of the studying on the COVID that I did, I am also doing the UV on the props and making sure that Lysol is very visible, as well as having the sanitation stations, to answer the last question.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, with my business, I am self-employed full-time, and that makes a little bit of difference for some people. In my case, I don't actually have true employees. All of mine are contractors, and which meant that the EIDL, the PPP, and all those other programs didn't necessarily match with my needs. and what I was going to be eligible for, unfortunately, because I was just too small. Being one person is not enough to meet the 2+ people requirements for a lot of those, other than maybe like $1,000, which goes away real quick if you do get that.
Right.
In my state, the money went to all these big corporations and not to small people, sadly. And I'm sure that that's true for a lot of your states as well. So in the research that I did in trying to figure out alternate funding options, one that I was reminded of is peer lending. And so that's kind of like, oh, your friend says, oh, you're in a tough spot, I'm going to help you. That's your family. But in a more formal format, that could be something like Kiva. And Kiva's peer lending, peer-to-peer. So in my case, what I did was I opted to sign up with my local Kiva organization. Kiva's actually based out of California, but there are little offices all over the world. And those offices have regional people that are actual staff and employees that help people apply for loans. And what makes Kiva unique is these are 0% interest loans. Did you hear of that?
Oh. Okay.
So unlike going to your bank where you're going to pay whatever fees, you're not going with Kiva. And something that makes Kiva special is okay, at a real bank, you're going to have collateral. With Kiva, it's a little bit different. The collateral you use with Kiva is social collateral. So what that means is your friend who is going to like help you with money, or your parents or whatever, if they create a Kiva account, now all of a sudden you're being able to show that you're valued business, meaning there is value to your business and people trust you enough that they're going to be willing to loan you money. If you can get a certain number of these people, then suddenly you can have a actual Kiva event go live, and then you can fundraise on the Kiva organization site. In my case, I did a fundraiser recently, and I asked for the money that at that point in time was $7,500 in refunds that I needed to issue for the projects that I was having to return. So,
wow.
Sadly, I owe more than that currently, but at the time, I was really nervous about needing to refund those monies in a timely manner, and so I requested the $7,500, and I was able to get that. And how that program is going to work for me is I'll have 6 months at 0% interest and no paybacks. So not until next year am I going to have to start paying people back. And so the people who are donating $25 to my cause, they're going to get their 25 back, and so it'll just be a delayed time span. But it's not so much that people are like, oh, I'm not going to donate, because people spend coffee like $8, $10. You go to fast food, and before you know it's almost $20 anyway.
So do they get a chance to donate, or is it donate or loan?
It is a little bit different. Kiva works differently than your GoFundMe or your Kickstarters, in the sense that GoFundMe and Kickstarter actually takes a percentage of your money away. Kiva does not. Kiva is 100% free. So that's free for you as the person receiving the money, and people who are actually donating the money to you. There's no fees involved because it's banked through the PayPal system, and PayPal charges no fees for this particular nonprofit organization.
So, like my mom, when it first hit, she was like, "Don't worry, I'll pay your bills. Don't worry, don't worry." And I'm like, "What?" And so she just gave me money. And so you're saying that like if somebody wants to do that, they should do it through this, so that they can, so you can show that you have business worth. And what does it do for them? What if they don't want their money back? What if they just want to give it?
Well, there's different options. I mean, someone could, in theory, donate their money. They could choose to receive their money back and then donate it to support another business, because there's lots of businesses out there. So as a first-time donor, Kiva even gives you extra money to donate. So if you donate, they'll give you another $25 to donate to somebody else.
Oh, wow.
So we help a lot of people in situations where they're trying to grow their business. And all these are verified businesses. So this is not like someone off the street who's never done anything. So in the process of mine, I had to show, like, I had a business bank account, that I had, been in business for a certain amount of time. And, I had to prove my worth in order to not have to put down collateral. Sometimes if you want a bank loan, you got to show, hey, I got a car, I got a house, I got these things. And, that's not always ideal.
Right. Lisa, because you're in a different situation than us, but you already said that it affected the business. So how did you have to pivot that way, or did you have to at all? What happened for you with the loss of business?
So LA Photo Party was able to participate in the PPP loan process. So I know that David got a really nice amount of money to bring back the majority of our staff. We were not able to bring back our on-site event teams, unfortunately, but we were able to retain sales, marketing, software development, our office staff, accounting, billing, logistics. But that initial loan period was for 8 weeks, right? So originally they told us, you got 8 weeks. You got to spend this money in 8 weeks, and you have to, allot it in a certain fashion. So much for overhead and so much for staff wages. So, we took a look at that money and we allocated it out amongst the staff over this 8-week period. Well, then they come back last week, like the week before it ended, and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to extend that to 24 weeks now." So you could
have did it differently with the money. You could have
exactly. And so the way that they have to structure the payments, I mean, we had to bill so many hours. Like I had to still clock in for 37 hours a week, and I don't know that there's 37 hours worth of work available. And so, I mean, it was great. I mean, somebody talked about, getting into your garage and cleaning out all your props. And, we had a lot of projects that we were able to work on that we hadn't previously maybe had the time for.
Right.
So that was great. Marketing was able to put together some amazing presentations, and we've been updating our website. Again, we hired these new software developers, but now, we've still got a chunk of that money left to spend over these next 16 weeks, but and now it's a smaller percentage.
Exactly.
So it was just, the rules are just changing so much. And, David is just doing everything that he can to find the resources to try and keep as many people on that we can.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, though, that with the software sales and the product sales, that we still have those two prongs of our company that are able to, keep us viable until events make their way back.
Yeah. That's good that he did that, because I remember when they announced the PPP and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply. And I tried to apply, but I banked with Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo was like, hey, we're going to do it, but not yet. Okay, we're going to do it, but not yet. So I kept getting, we're going to do it, I'm not yet emails. And then it was like, guess what? We're still not doing it yet. So why don't you go look somewhere else? But we're going to do it, but not now, but go look somewhere else. So I did. I ended up getting approved for the PPP, and I also ended up getting approved for the PUA. So I did apply for unemployment, but again, we hadn't gotten approved for the help yet as a small business. So it was like, go ahead and apply. We're going to deny you, and then you just wait until we get it, until the government approves it, and then you'll start to receive the unemployment. So I know me and Wanda went through the same process. We were neck and neck at doing the same process with our state, because we're both in Virginia. So that was working, and then the PPP was working. So when the unemployment came through, you get the lowest unemployment, and then you get the $600 that everybody's getting, which is going to end at the end of this month. I know they're working on something else, so we'll see what happens. But anywho,
well, your mouth to God's ears, because I need something to happen after the end of July.
Right. But I did hear, I don't know if you guys follow that guy, Kevin, that does the YouTubes, and he's like keeping everybody abreast, like day to day. I don't know if he does anything else, but he's watching it. So he said there is a bill out now and it seems to me the best way, they're going to monitor the unemployment percentage. And as that changes, the money will change. So the better the unemployment rate gets, the less money we'll make. And so he'll do it that way. And I can work with that. I just don't want to be totally cut off. So because we're not fixed. And if we go through another wave, then what, you got to go through the whole process of starting over and asking for it again? I don't want to do that. Just get something done. So we're praying. We got 4 weeks. Let's get it done. So that got approved, and then we figured out when we did our first week where we had to shot, no, we didn't get this, no, we didn't get that. One of the questions was, did you get PPP funding? And I was like, what if I do? What does that mean? Because I started asking other people that get unemployment. They're like, well, I get a pension. They don't care. I don't know what that means. But what it means is they'll take that money from the money you're going to get from unemployment. So I just decided not to take the PPP. I kept the unemployment. I was okay with that. And then I had applied, me and Wanda both applied for the emergency disaster insurance loan. And they were doing the $10,000 grant. And then they said, okay, everybody's going to get $10,000. And we're like, oh, wow, right? You don't even have to get approved. So we fill it out. And then they sent an email and I was like, so how the $10,000 works is $1,000 for each employee. And I was like, oh, here's the kicker, right? So of course I'm only one, so I get $1,000. Well, Wanda was like, Sharon, did you check your account? I got my $1,000. Like, nope, I didn't get $1,000. I didn't get anything. And so I kept getting emails that we're looking at your application, you're in order, depending on when you apply. And I'm like, well, I applied in March, and I'm seeing people like April getting approved. I'm like, what's going on? But anywho, I'm in a group, a business credit group, and so they're keeping up, and they're like saying things. So they was like, yeah, just get your portal number, and I'm like, portal. And so then I got an email for the portal on its way. So I did get approved for the emergency disaster loan, and once they sent that money, they sent the grant right with it. So I got them both at the same time. So that helps. That was my biggest, like, I can breathe a little bit. I also am part of the Metropolitan Business League, which is kind of like Chamber of Commerce. And they got all of the, well, not all this funding, but they got funding from a number of companies and banks. They ended up getting, I think, $45,000 from all of these bigger companies and banks in the area. And they took that money and they split it amongst the people that applied for help. So we all got money. I know there's another photo booth for Mark. He's in there and he got money. They also offered us free business coaching to help us with our pivot. And we're going to be named in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, our local newspaper. They're going to announce our companies as being recipients of the grant. So just little by little, every time I see something, I apply. Like I said, I'm trying to rebuild. I decided to use some of the money to rebrand. So I'm going to get a new logo. I'm getting a new website. I've taken advantage of a lot of softwares that I didn't have that I always wanted, that I would ask other people, like, could you go online and do this for me, please? So now I can have it for myself. I have been a Pick Social customer since birth. He came out with a brand new feature on his template software, Patty. And so now he does custom work, because I was going to Fiverr for my custom work or other designers for my custom work, but I would use him for just the standard templates. And he was like, why do you do that? Why do you do that? I was like, I need custom. So he added that. So now I can get custom templates and the ones that he already has. So I invested in that. So just little things that I'm trying to make better is what I'm doing with that funds. Other thing is I've noticed, like, of course, I'm charging a little bit less on my virtuals than I would have a regular event, but I'm in multiple cities. So I used to travel to DC 3 times a week, saving money there. Gas. I haven't been to the gas station. I don't even remember. So I'm not spending the money on the gas. The gas went down. I've never seen it that low since, almost like everyone's like, we feel like we're in high school again. Look at the gas rate. It's so low. So the only thing I'm spending money on is the food. The grocery store is getting all of my coins. So, but it's been really good to get that help. But Katrina, help. What have you done? Have you done alternative funding? Are you getting money from the government, or you're full time as well?
Yeah, so I did. We did apply for the EIDL and received $1,000 and received the grant. So that's really all that I'm holding on to. Other than I did pick up 2 new consultant. I'm consulting with other new photo boothers in the area. So I'm enjoying that a lot. So that's what I'm doing to soak up this time. Since COVID, I have 5 new photo boothers that I'm teaching how to teach them the industry. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes. I was doing some of that right before. I haven't put myself back out there for that yet, but it's really good to give back and to also help them not make the mistakes that we made and lose money. Like if you want to spend the money, you can spend it with me and
Right.
I'll help you, you
That's
know.
right.
So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
and they're loving it because when we first started, the money that I lost, whew, I spent so much unnecessary money, and the industry wasn't like it was now.
Yeah.
I don't think it was too friendly when I first started at all. People didn't like to share, but now the industry is a little bit more open to that. So I don't mind doing it at all here.
And Wanda took a quick potty break, and I know we all have to do that. And I'm going to be respectful of your time. I want to give you the floor real quick before I say goodbye. But go ahead. What are we pivoting to? How did you get help? I know I brought you into my story because we've been going through it at the same rate.
She said, "Oh shoot."
I heard the oh shoot.
Doing the
We got you.
unemployment, doing the unemployment route, because in addition to photo booth and full time, I also am a hairstylist and I subbed because I was a former teacher. So all three streams of my incomes were like kapow. So the unemployment, like Sharon said, got denied, and then you come back in and you have it, and like she said, it's going to be gone. And I've learned some experiences even with the unemployment, because you know when when you report your income, you could get nothing.
Yeah.
And so that has happened for me more than I've been on that end more than the receiving end, because of reporting, which it is what it is. I did get the loan that Sharon was talking about. So, and with that, I am going to as well do some rebranding and changing. Did a pivot and did a little side, another little side business that's kind of connecting together with the photo booth. So, yeah, just
This
trying to work on that too.
This
And
has
see
been
what that's
so
going
great. I know I was worried about all of you. Dave, of course, he's right on time. He said he has to go, and we lost Carolyn. She had to go too. And I know you guys got to go to the bathroom, got to
Have a
eat
great
dinner,
day.
and get with your families. But oh my God, this was amazing, and I can't
Thank
believe
you.
I had
It's
all
a
of you on
pleasure.
here. This was so good. We had so many viewers. I know they loved seeing us again because I miss you guys so much. Because people don't post like they used to post all the time. So even through post, I miss you guys. But seeing you is even better.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much
you,
for
Lisa,
coming on,
Anna, Wanda.
Sharon.
Good to see you, Anna and Lisa. I look forward to talking to y'all.
And thanks everybody
Sounds
for watching.
Yes, thanks
Yes, thank you
everybody.
everybody for watching. Thank you, Dave, for sharing and being
Thank you.
supportive.
Hopefully y'all got some good stuff.
Prayers for John
And
Place
again,
again.
Yes, keep
Yes,
John in your
John
prayers.
Place, his family, prayers. Yep, absolutely.
Bye,
Bye,
ladies.
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. That was good.